Good evening and welcome to NTA News Top Table. It has been a deluge of rains today here in Abuja and many parts of the country. Perhaps our exciting blend of news, reviews and exclusive interviews is just the tonic you need to round off your day. Tonight on News Extra, Federal Executive Council gives approval to the implementation of revised public service rules. National mass metering program. A 6 million meter target expected to address some shortfall, but there is a voltage of doubt from consumers as well. Kaduna schools reopen after weeks of closure. A tale of courage, resolve and appetite for knowledge. There is a bustling town where the abattoirs are dominated by the nimble hands of the female folk. Does the beef taste better? The locomotive is back on track between Nigeria's two commercial hubs, Lagos and Kano, a shot in the arm for the community of the rail. A seaport in Delta is not enjoying the smooth tide of commerce. Can they navigate through the challenges? Well, let's set sail together. I am Fatima Umarbuba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. The Federal Executive Council today gave approval to the implementation of a revised Public Service Rules. Council also gave approval to the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy for the award of contract for the upgrade of infrastructure to improve communication structure among ministries, departments and agencies. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade reports.
Well, this is good news to those in public service, especially those that have been clamoring for paternity leave. The federal government has approved 14 days as paternity leave now, and this is contained in the revised public service rules. Presented the memo before the Federal Executive Council for approval. Head of Service Folashade Yemi Esan says the public service rules are all important tools in the public service that govern the actions of the public servants at workplace. The rules are supposed to be reviewed every 5 years, but the last time this took place was in 2008, which makes it imperative that this must be done now.
The chapter on APA and promotions has been replaced by a new chapter on the new performance management system that has been introduced into the public service. There's also a chapter that has also been reinvigorated, the chapter on training. This is an all-important chapter because of the importance that training has in the public service. We also have a new chapter on virtual meetings. You recall that there was a policy document that was approved by the Federal Executive Council. So we've put some of the guidelines from that policy document into the new public service rules. And so we have accepted virtual meetings as a tool to be used in service now.
Apart from the granting of 14 days paternity leave, the annual leave calculated with calendar days will now be calculated per working day.
Honorable Minister of Communication presented the memo today, and that memo was to seek Council's approval for the award of contract for the provision of project management services for the implementation of the local area network infrastructure upgrade project in identified ministries, departments and agencies.
The minister said council also gave approval to support projects at the Federal University of Dutse in Jigawa State and the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, in Anambra State. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The federal government has declared Friday, October 1 as public holiday to mark the nation's 61st independence anniversary celebration. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, on behalf of the federal government, congratulates all Nigerians on this year's celebration of the country's 61st independence and assures of government's commitment to tackle and eradicate all forms of challenges, be it political or socio-economic. The minister says while celebrating Nigeria's 61st independence anniversary, the safety of the citizenry is the federal government's main concern. This is as the COVID-19 third Delta variant remains a clear and present danger. This year's celebration is expected to be held without the usual pomp. While wishing Nigerians a fruitful independence celebration, the minister calls for a reflection on the ideals demonstrated by the nation's founding fathers, despite differences in faith, tribe, and other affiliations. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari will tomorrow unveil Discover Nigeria, a pictorial book on Nigeria's history covering the period from independence in 1960 to the present. A statement by presidential spokesman Femi Adesina says the 392-page book, authored by Bayo Omoborio Riowo, the president's official photographer, showcases the country's rich traditional institutions, ingenuity of its people, the beauty of its landscape, the richness of its farmlands, stunning waterfalls and seas, among others. The event will also feature an exhibition of Nigeria's art, crafts and cultures across the 6 geopolitical zones created by the National Council of Arts and Culture, with Nigeria's cuisine and delicacies also on display. The overall goal of the event is to remind all Nigerians about the beauty that Nigeria's diversity brings and the strength that unity affords Nigeria as a country. There is a saying that the road to success is always under construction. Therefore, the newly signed Petroleum Industry Act is already undergoing legislative repairs. Senate has passed for second reading the bill that seeks to amend the act to ensure national equity and strengthen the administrative structure of the new system. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwa reports.
On Tuesday, the 21st of September 2021, the executive transmitted the Petroleum Industry Act Amendment Bill to the Senate for consideration. 8 days after, the Senate, poised to give it accelerated consideration, has passed it for second reading and is now set for public hearing. It seeks to ensure federal character principle, expand membership of the board of the Upstream Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and to exclude the Minister of Petroleum Resources and that of Finance from membership of the two institutions.
It is also important to note that administratively, the representatives of the ministries on the board will be directors, being the same rank with the directors of the institutions.
Put forward this bill to the National Assembly. It shows that Mr. President is a leader. Of course, we know he's a leader that is very much interested in equity.
And let me also commend the executive for starting the immediate implementation of this act, because this is how it is supposed to be.
The Federal College of Contemporary and Alternative Medicine of Nigeria Establishment Bill has been passed by the Senate, while the Chartered Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering of Nigeria Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Sadiq Umar, Federal College of Agriculture, Shani, Borno State, by Senator Ali Ndume, Enhancement of Livelihood Security of Households in Rural Areas Bill, sponsored by Senator Sani Musa, and the Smallholders Farmers Protection Bill by Bima Inagi, passed second reading.
Provide for the registration, certification, and standardization where required of professional electrical electronic engineering personnel.
Agriculture cannot be practiced in modern times using the traditional methods without scientific knowledge and skills.
It will offer up to 100 days of unskilled manual labor per year on public works projects.
The small-scale farmers still need to be very well protected.
Senate, through a motion by Senator Ibrahim Gobir, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits as terrorists and declare all their known leaders wanted, as it resolved to interface with relevant authorities to address the challenges in cargo export from Nigeria as a result of multiple charges. This followed Senator Bala Ibn Na'ala's motion, which observed that cargo aircraft now boycott Nigeria as a result of this development. Senate observed a minute silence in honor of late Dr. Chike Akunyele, husband of late Professor Dora Akunyele, who was murdered by unknown persons, as moved by Senator Uche Ekwunife. President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan granted audience to the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabire Rewa, who presented a compendium of plus 600 diaspora icons at 60 and stressed on the need for diaspora voting.
We know that we have negative stories about our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, but we are more positive than negative. All we need is a more intensive engagement.
Regardless of the challenges, we are so optimistic that we can deal with the security situation before the end of the tenure of this administration.
Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, the 5th of October 2021. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Nigeria's agro-allied market is worth more than 250 billion naira, but local exporters are abandoning the business due to alleged extortions and illegal charges imposed on air cargo billed for export. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the House of Representatives is to investigate this issue, which it said is also discouraging cargo airlines from operating in Nigeria.
Export is supposed to be free in Nigeria under extant laws and regulations, except for airlines charges and payments to ground handlers.
The Deputy Minority Leader, Tobi Okechukwu, raised the motion in which he highlighted allegations that 11 out of 16 charges on air cargo for exports are illegal. These, among other bottlenecks, have forced cargo airlines to abandon Nigeria for other African countries. The investigation to be conducted is to help sustain federal government's economic diversification policy. Also to be investigated is the skyrocketing prices of goods and services nationwide as raised by Isiaka Ibrahim. House members also urge authorities to curb illegal mining in Osun State as moved by Lawrence Ayeni, just as they supported the motion from Kingsley Chima on the need to enforce compulsory inclusion of moral lessons in school curricula.
With the increasing rate of violence and various forms of immorality in recent times, the need for reintroduction and enforcement of the teaching of moral lessons and orientation subjects and courses in primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions cannot be overemphasized.
Other features during Wednesday's plenary include second reading of 4 bills from the following sponsors.
To establish the National Roots and Tuber Production, Processing and Research Institute in Taraba State.
To establish decontamination centers within each of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria with the responsibility of cleaning, disinfecting, and sterilization of medical devices.
A bill for an act to amend the Notaries Public Act Cap N141 laws of the Federation of Nigeria.
A bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals to regulate activities of members.
Meanwhile, the House has put on hold concurrence of bills forwarded from the Senate until some observed issues are sorted out. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Judicious management of resources has been a critical function of governments across the world, and the annual budget serves as the vehicle for achieving this. In Nigeria, these annual budgets are legally backed by a 3-year financial plan known as the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper. In this report, Ignatius Nkwo takes a look at the concept of MTEF and its application in Nigeria's budget process.
On the 2022-2024 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework MTEF and Fiscal Strategy Paper FSBCI, those against any, the ayes have it.
That was the consideration of the 2022-2024 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper. It's been an annual ritual in the National Assembly, a legislative practice that precedes the transmission of annual budgets by the executive. It all started in 2004 with Nigeria's first attempt to operationalize the process and the subsequent passing into law of the Fiscal Responsibility Act in 2007, which gave it a legal backing. Section 11 of the Act provides for the medium-term expenditure framework. It states that the federal government shall cause to prepare and lay before the National Assembly for consideration and approval an MTEF for the next 3 financial years. The MTEF is prepared yearly and submitted to the National Assembly not later than August every year. It consists of the estimated revenue and expenditure of government, while the accompanying fiscal strategy paper encapsulates government strategic policies for the 3 years.
You have to plan ahead at least for 3 years. You put those parameters to predict what the prices maybe of the oil will be. Then all your plan will be based on expected revenue.
The spending will determine where government priority is. If government is intending to focus on containing insecurity, you will see more money will now be allocated to defense.
MTEF is prepared every year because it's a rolling plan which must be updated on an annual basis to reflect the prevailing macroeconomic situation of each year.
For example, look at 2020. The MTEF for 2019 to 2021 did not emphasize that there will be lockdown.
It is important that you get it in right to a very large extent, and this MTEF guides the Parliament to deliberate on the budget presented by the executive arm of government.
The introduction of the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper is part of Nigeria's budget process reforms, which seeks to ensure allocation of resources to priority areas, more efficient planning and management, a framework within which policy proposals can be assessed, more transparency in government, a reduction in rollovers, and a clear demonstration of how fiscal targets will be met.
It also gives some macroeconomic indications, as well as ensures that certain parameters are set for government revenue. You profile the incomes or inflow to government by way of revenue.
Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
And a greater synergy among security agencies and security orientation for all Nigerians have been identified as critical steps towards intelligence gathering and enhanced security of the nation. This formed the thrust of high-level consultations with security agencies by the African Peer Review Mission team for the validation of Nigeria's self-assessment report. Mitarik Beng has that.
Across the globe, security challenges are expanding, putting more pressure on governments to secure lives and property. This interface between the African Union Peer Review team and representatives of security agencies in Nigeria focused on emerging trends in terrorism, insurgency, and triggers of election violence, with far-reaching recommendations to improve Nigeria's security architecture.
We have to give the police what they require. Often we forget that we have not equipped them adequately, both in terms of men, the number, and in terms of the materials they require to do their work.
We are talking about the issue of usage of technology. Times are changing and there are new developments, in the area. And of course, the issue of synergy of various security agencies, particularly those that are responsible for intelligence and information gathering.
The recommendations are expected to enrich the country's self-assessment report and Nigeria's second peer review process.
We need the input of critical stakeholders to be able to capture what is necessary and be able to put our record to form the new national program of action so that we don't stop the good work we're doing, or where we need to address, we don't carpet it.
The whole essence of the African peer review mechanism is to leverage on best practices among member countries for the enthronement of good governance. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
We head to Kaduna now. Like they say, extreme conditions require extreme measures. So Kaduna State government joined some states in Northwest in shutting down telecommunications services in parts of the state, as well as banning use of motorcycles. This is among other containment measures to tackle security challenges. Suleiman Abdullahi Rugachko reports.
The measure is coming after meetings with security agencies and recommendations to adopt critical measures towards containing insecurity. Ban on the use of motorcycles for commercial and personal purposes is for a period of 3 months, beginning from Thursday.
As part of the containment measures that are being adopted by Kaduna State and other states in the northwest and north central, with effect from 30th of September 2021, Kaduna State government has banned Okada throughout the state for the period of 3 months in the first instance. There are other measures that government has taken that also include restriction of Keke Napep from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Daily.
Also banned is the sale of petrol in jerry cans or other containers in 7 local government areas of Birnungwari, Giwa, Chikun, Igabi, Kachia, Kagarku, and Kajuru. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Usman Ali Baba, is assuring the nation of maximum security as the nation marks her 61st independence anniversary on Friday. A statement by the force indicates that the IGP has put in place adequate security measures to protect the citizens, ensure the success of all the activities lined up for the anniversary celebration, and prevent any untoward situation throughout the period of the celebration and beyond. Consequently, the Assistant Inspectors General of Police and Commissioners of Police in all the zonal and state commands have been directed to lead the Independence Anniversary security operations from the front line. They are to ensure high visibility and confidence, boosting patrols around the venues of the celebration, residential areas and other public places to prevent any infiltration by criminal elements. The federal government has increased procurement of military equipment to further stem security threats across the country. Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabo stated this at the inauguration of Course 30 of the National Defense College, Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
This brief symbolic ceremony formally inaugurates the 2021 Course 30 of the National Defense College, NDC. The college, Nigeria's premier military institution, prepares senior military and civilian officers for operational and strategic level responsibilities at national and international environment.
With the world and humanity currently experiencing a rise in security challenges, it has become expedient to seek innovative, sustainable ways in overcoming these challenges. We are aware of the efforts of government in tackling the various security situations in the country, with the increase in the procurement of modern equipment. And so you already know that these efforts are evident in the recent procurement of very many military platforms.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan, a guest speaker at the event, harps on holistic approach towards solving security and developmental challenges.
We must all work together as a nation. Not just about government or about the security services. Individuals must be involved. The religious leaders, the youth leaders, the women leaders, the civil society, every traditional rulers, we must work collectively.
The National Defense College Course 30 comprises 99 officers from the military and civilian institutions, as well as international participants.
Considering the military might of your country, what brings you to Nigeria?
Training in the Nigerian Defense College, I think, will definitely bring in a lot of experience and knowledge to me.
We'll have an opportunity to learn more about the strategic level in a different perspective.
The NDC, established in 1992, is the highest military training body in the country. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The prowess of fishing and fishermen in Arugungu has remained the main attraction of visitors to Arugungu. But the Kanta Museum is less patronized. Anthony Ferguson, in the entourage of the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, was there. Over to him now.
Welcome to Kanta Museum, a bungalow housing stunning monuments at first sight. Going in and you are caught spellbound. Named after the founder of Kebbi Kingdom, Muhammadu Kanta, who ruled for 46 years. Special guest here at the museum is the Kakakin Kebbi, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed after his turbaning.
Kabi, not Kebi, but it was Kabi. It means Mashi was one people or different area. So that Kabi province, Kabi as a Mashi was referent area, was a province under Songhai Empire.
Visitors to this museum with more structures beyond what a visitor sees from the outside.
These heavy winds was dust, just around the battlefield. And those on the side of landing can no longer see because of the dust.
Didaki is a room for boys. Buka is where to get rest. The Kaka Kinkebi was equally shown tombs of past emirs. The richness of the museum caught the minister's passion. From there, the minister was hosted to a polo tournament at the Adugungu Polo Ground. The state governor, Abubakar Bagudu, assured that the 2022 edition will attract teams from around the globe.
Celebrating and competing with each other with teams across Nigeria shows how peaceful Nigeria is, and in spite of pockets of incidences which by God's grace are on their way to ending, Nigeria is on the march to greatness.
Culture and inclusion in all our festivals here. So I think what we need to do is to appeal more to the private sector to join hands with the government in promoting this culture.
Trophies were presented to deserving teams and players. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Culture is sure life. Thank you so much, Anthony. Let's take a short break now. When we return, the locomotive returns to the rail track between Kano and Lagos, and it's hooting its music to the ears of Pearl passengers. Plus, the push for better social protection cover for Nigerians receive legislative support. Stay with us. Thanks so much for staying. Armed Forces operations have been recently intensified in Zamfara State as part of renewed commitment to combat resurgent banditry and kidnappings. Jamilu Ibrahim takes a look at the operations so far and their impact on stemming the tides of the bandits and their collaborators across the state.
The government renewed commitment to combat resurgent banditry and sped up kidnapping in Zamfara State through intensified armed forces operations is no doubt greeted with high expectations from people in the state. The operations, which are centered in the areas most hit by the problem, have started yielding the desired results.
But the troops are doing their best, and we will do everything possible to improve the situation.
A lot of bandits are being neutralized by the security, and our neighbors are also giving us cooperation in terms of GSM network. That has given us the impetus of adding more grease to the elbows of the security agencies to fight the bandits in their enclaves.
Though details of the success story of the operations are sketchy, the reported significant improvement in the security situation across the 40 local government areas of the state is a clear manifestation of the positive impacts of the exercise. The recent successful rescue of many kidnapped victims, most of whom spent a number of months in the bandits' enclaves across the state, as well as the return of many internally displaced persons to their villages, are another clear indications of restoration of relative peace, particularly in the rural communities.
We are in collaboration with the security agencies, and we got clearance before we decided to move them. We have provided them with cash as well as food items, provided the vehicles for them to go back to their destinations.
The new security measures adopted by the government, especially as they relate to the blockage of food items and petrol supply to the bandits and the shutdown of telecommunication networks, could be said to have greatly facilitated the effort to stem the tide of the bandits and their collaborators in the state.
I urge the good people of Zamfara State to always remain law-abiding and collaborate with the security agencies, that the measures taken by the governor in collaboration with the security agencies are yielding positive results.
As the armed forces intensify more efforts towards the restoration of lasting peace in Zamfara state, people in the state are encouraged to continue to support the security agencies with vital and timely information on criminals and their collaborators, with a view to consolidating on the feat achieved so far. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
The impact of COVID-19 has further exposed gaps and deficits arising in the nation's social protection cover, despite the contributory pension, health insurance, housing funds, and other insurance benefits. To address these challenges, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the insurance experts got some legislative impetus, with the Speaker House of Representatives lending his voice to efforts at finding ways to expand social protection cover to the informal sector. Emmanuel Anyimiro reports.
A recent document by the International Labour Organization reveals that over 4 billion persons, that is 53% of global population, are unprotected against economic shocks, with only about 17% under social protection cover. The Nigerian Labour Congress is eager to see Nigeria adopting Convention 102 of the ILO, which provides social security through universal schemes, social insurance, and social assistance.
We are also focusing on how best to increase public confidence in contributory pension scheme, how to achieve universal health coverage, and how to realize affordable social housing for all workers and also the less privileged, and how we can explore ways of expanding social protection security cover to every Nigerian, whether working or jobless.
Of course, coverage is a problem, even with the informal sector. The legacy-defined benefit is still a challenge. And that's why you still see agitation, particularly in the public sector.
What is then to be done to strengthen social regulatory governance on security cover?
In this moment of crisis, there is an opportunity for us to make choices and take actions that can open up new vistas and measurably improve the lives of Nigerians. You can be rest assured that whatever comes out of this roundtable that will demand legislative support, we're going to work hand in hand to ensure that we improve the well-being of Nigerian workers.
Social insurance will also continue to play a key role in ensuring broader scope and higher levels of protection.
The NLC Roundtable on Social Protection Cover has carefully selected expanding social protection system and ensuring effective implementation in Nigeria as a tool to develop different aspects of social protection necessary to address the issue of poverty and lack. Emmanuel Anyimiro, NTA News.
The rail system is an imperative vehicle for transporting goods and services from one axis of the country to another. For several months, Kano-Lagos passenger train was not on the tracks as a result of coronavirus pandemic, which halted the end-to-end service. However, passengers are now excited with the resumption of the train service, commending government for the ongoing construction of standard gauge across the length and breadth of the country. Mohammed Rabiu Ali captured the mood, sights and sounds of the now running train and reports.
Kano Railway was established in 1819 as one of the pioneer stations in Nigeria and vehicle in the transport sector. However, a rail modernization project is yet to reach Kano, which resulted in relying on narrow gauge. Although efforts are underway as contractor has mobilized to site for the construction of standard gauge from Kano to link Kaduna, Abuja to Lagos. This is a sign of dispatch from Kano rail station to southern parts of the country. The train now transports passengers once a week to Lagos.
Perhaps some people may wish not to travel by train, and perhaps some use it as a safest and affordable means of transport, looking at the transformation in the sector.
I'm super excited. I was actually excited when I heard that Kano to Lagos now, so I said, okay, let me give it a try.
We are happy with the resumption of this train. We are heading to Ibadan for wedding.
We appreciate God and we thank God because I know that from now the business is going to move well, everything is going to work well. And I believe as this train starts, let it continue.
I am happy about it. And now I can travel, go and visit my parents, my friends in other states.
This time around, the narrow gauge commenced boarding with 2 additional first-class seater to better the life of Nigerians.
Partner our tracks, it's just I have to call to the society. We are trying our best, but bundles and others are trying to sabotage our effort. And it's not possible for us to do everything, to make everything possible, unless with the contribution of the people outside.
NTA News observed that the station is back to life as a train passenger board to Lagos at the rate of 5,500 for first-class seater, while 3,200 for second-class seater. The revolution in the sector through construction of standard gauge, when completed, will bring back past glory and ease transport system. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Amazing. Now, with the resurgence of a remodeled and reliable diesel multiple unit train coaches on standard gauge rail line, Nigeria is again on the path of modern development, reminiscent of the glorious past when rail service really connected the country. Abolade Salami, who just came back from a trip on the new Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line, captures the experience of passengers in this report.
On arrival at the Abuja Metal train station as early as 8 a.m., regular and prospective passengers were seen making their way into the arrival lounge to catch up with the train scheduled to depart Lagos en route Abuja to Ibadan. With engines running and entrance doors on each coach opened for passengers to locate their seats as indicated on their boarding pass, a sound of the honk to signal final departure prompted all passengers cleared by officials for the trip to make their way in for the commencement of the journey as scheduled. Just about 50 minutes into the journey of 2 hours, I approached some passengers to share the experience being the first time they're riding on a train.
This kind of development we want to be seen in Nigeria. So, most of us in my generation, we've been seeing train. We've been seeing coaches, and it has not been appealing to us to actually board. But this is one of the best that I've seen so far.
Before this, my first time. Actually, to be honest, it beat my imagination. I wasn't expecting what I meet here, so I think it's okay.
While some passengers who came with doubts of having a worthwhile experience on the train had a change of mind before disembarking, other regular travelers at the train terminals advocating regular maintenance.
And I can confidently tell you that I can't remember the last time I traveled to Abuja by road since the service has been on, and I can do my early morning ride to Abuja. It's even more convenient for me.
I do sincerely pray that they will have the means by which to maintain. It's not something low, it's of high standard.
The coming to life of the train on the corridor passengers submit will help decongest traffic along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway with an appeal to concerned authorities to bring on board more coaches and increase daily trips on the route. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
From Lagos to Port Harcourt. In line with federal government's resolve towards ease of doing business in the maritime domain, the Nigeria Shippers Council is meeting with stakeholders in the maritime industry to address key issues hindering smooth operations at the eastern ports. Ijoma Ugweke has the report.
The
interactive forum is to deepen the partnership between Shippers Council and stakeholders to intimate them on the activities of the council and articulate strategies towards addressing challenges at the eastern ports. Issues raised include increase in tariff by terminal operators, clearance processes, and the need for authorities involved to be responsive, insecurity, multiple checkpoints, and poor access roads.
At this point in our neck, in what precisely? You pay all the charges, and then you are given 14 days for fiscal examination to the trust. And those 14 days you are paying acknowledges. Shipping companies collecting their own, terminal operators are collecting their own. The examination that takes nothing less than 48 hours, maximum, now takes 2 weeks.
You must abide by the rules and regulation of the Immigration Service. Let's do the right thing. My officers check for documents. They check for documentation to make sure that everything is correct. If it is correct, we will not waste time.
If we are doing our best, due diligence as regards customs will entail that you do a honest declaration of what you want to bring in.
The Executive Secretary, Emmanuel Jime, who is on a familiarization tour of all zones under the Council's operations, intimated stakeholders on the ongoing programs of the Shippers Council for ease of doing business.
We have also today taken the initiative to address the very challenging, difficult container deposit regime that we have in our ports at the moment. Those of you who are in this section that has to do with containers will recognize the importance of instituting a container deposit insurance scheme, which the Shippers Council is promoting at this time.
Authorized for port economic regulation in 2015, stakeholders were advised to register with Nigerian Shippers Council for effective service delivery. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Let's take a breather in the next segment of the news, a huge mass metering project, but a few more meters to cross. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Smedan unveils 5-year policy to reposition the nation's small and medium enterprises as investors gain 382.06 billion naira in the capital market. Musa Abakar is here with details on business news. Musa, let's talk business.
Thank you, Fatima. Nigeria has developed a 5-year policy to reposition the nation's micro, small and medium enterprises sector for improved performance. Director General of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, Dr. Dikko Marurada, disclosed this at the unveiling of the newly approved revised national policy on micro, small and medium enterprises for 2021-2025 in Abuja.
To see this meeting as a final seal needed to publicly declare our institutional commitment to work towards the realization of the policy objectives.
We are committed to promoting and supporting every initiative towards the advancement of MSMEs in Nigeria.
MSME cuts across many sectors, and so it needs a multi-sectoral approach in implementation.
And now to capital markets. Stock appreciated midweek in Nigeria, eroding losses recorded earlier in the week to see the all-share index log in 1.89% gain, closing the day at 39,592.29 points. Over 474 million equities exchanged hands in 3,547 deals, valued at 4.005 billion naira. Equity capitalization closed at 20.627 trillion naira. FBN Holdings, with a whopping 264 million shares, top trade and was trailed by a distant Universal Insurance and AXA Mansard Insurance. And that's business news. It's back to you, Fatima.
Thank you so much, Musa. The highest decision-making body, the Federal Executive Council, recently approved the national policy on 5G network for Nigeria's digital economy. On this report, Ruth Ariu Samuel examines the benefits of adopting 5G network for the government and Nigerians in general.
5G, which is the fifth generation technology network, is the advanced form of 2G, 3G, and 4G, which Nigeria currently operates. Large numbers of advanced countries of the world have adopted the 5G network, while others are considering its adoption in the next few years. The technology provides the platform for new and emerging technologies such as the Internet of Things, IoT, artificial intelligence, AI, and big data to improve the way people live and work.
The 5G network will also come with increased capacity, and it has increased bandwidth compared to the 4G network.
From 15 to about 20 megahertz gig per second, and with very low latency. That means that short duration to be able to connect with what you want.
The new network comes with great potential that will boost the entire spectrum of Nigeria's socio-economic ecosystem. Its adoption in Nigeria will no doubt bring about transformation in the country in the areas of smart city, smart transportation, and efficiency in medicine.
You look at almost every form of economic sector that we have in the country, and then internet has a role to play in all of this. So it tends to speed up more activities. You move away from the manual way of doing things, and you deploy the digital means of achieving faster results.
You can do a lot more across with technology, moving data across, talking to people in terms of Zoom calls or in any sort of communication in there. Better infrastructure enables this. And I think if they recognize this and they embrace it, it would unlock a lot of revenue and development for the country as a whole.
It will further migrate government operations from manual to digital to conform with the benchmark of operations in the 21st century. While experts have enumerated the many benefits of the adoption of 5G network to the government and its citizenry, they however want government to improve on infrastructures for seamless operations of the 5G network in Nigeria. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
Metering electricity customers is a lingering issue in the power sector. However, this age-long challenge is what the National Mass Metering Program is set to address. 6 million meters given free to electricity customers is the target, but some people are expressing doubts, and this is the reason Joshua Ojito takes up some industry players on the details of the program.
Launched in 2020, and there was great euphoria from both sides of the divide. For the distribution companies, there will be no power theft. While the customer is happy, there will be no arbitrary billing. 700 meters already out in phase 0 of the National Mass Metering Program. The customer questions the integrity of the newly installed meters. The reading is suspicious, they alleged.
I prefer they order this in before the prepayments are come. Let me just say example now for our house. Before that we carry bill of 4,000 naira come for a month. But now we can load a month, we can spend almost 30-something thousand naira.
Federal government not comfortable with the complaints, fears anchored on possible reversal of the gains of the National Mass Metering Program. Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, rises to the occasion. Surveillance increased to ensure that only tested meters are installed by certified engineers and technicians. A panel comprising of all segments of the power value chain, mandate well cut out to flush out unlicensed technicians.
It does not mean that because the DISCO has given the meter the installation personnel a meter to go and install, you just go there blindly and install. Then you must check the load, you must check all the wire, you must check the time, you must sure every other thing is right. And because of the ill we have seen, we have decided to actually start certifying electricity meter installation personnel in Nigeria.
The panel is not Abuja based, but also to be inaugurated in all states of the Federation. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Medical experts and nutritionists always recommend fruits and vegetables for healthy living. Proportional to the increasing population in Lagos, these edibles are also in high demand and sellers are making brisk sales. Surveillance, however, shows that some of these fruits and vegetables are unhealthy for human consumption. Well, itching to hear more like I am, and then let's listen to Annie Daniels.
Sabo Market in Yaba is known for fresh fruits and vegetables. But you know what? As fresh and appealing as they may look to the eyes, the tongue may detest them.
Like banana now, they used to make camber to ripe it. But why? They want to sell it in time. They want to buy it today and sell it today. If you taste banana that they book camber, it's going to fine outside and it's going to bitter. Small inside.
Most of those things happen where you can buy fruit or buy anything that you won't see them the following day. Like when you buy something from inside Odop.
The use of carbide to ripen fruits or vegetables are not appropriate. They are cancerous and therefore people should desist from doing that.
Okay, what about these drug hawkers at Obalende and other places? Of course, they too have customers with no intention of leaving the unhealthy trade any moment soon.
I don't think those people that used to hawk, they go to school safe.
Not cheap, because people who have bought chemicals to preserve food, dangerous chemicals, they didn't get it for free. So it's not going to be cheap at the end of the day. So, but even if it is cheap, it is not an excuse to die cheaply.
Are they aware some of these drugs may have expired?
I never see any fate something for this thing because everything used to get that registration number expiring date.
It's not that the products could not be registered. Of course, we are not registering drugs for hawkers. The hawkers will go to somewhere else to go and take the drugs. But unfortunately, they don't have the skills and the understanding of how to store the products. And that is a major concern.
You cannot dispense without a prescription. And even when you dispense on prescription, you are supposed to keep record of how much you dispense the patient.
These medical experts and nutritionists have decided to intensify the campaign against falsified medical products and unwholesome food.
Many Nigerians do not understand the intricate connection between food and drug safety as an important component of the national security architecture of the country.
Half, they say, is wealth. So, Lagos presidents look forward to seeing this becoming a reality sooner than expected. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Well, for us to be safe and healthy, let's always do the right thing. Nigerians have been urged to leverage the agro-allied potentials in their localities to boost production in the agricultural value chain for the nation's economic development. Kenneth Nanim reports that the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOAA, Garba Abari, was speaking at the Nigeria at 60 exhibition and trade fair in Abuja.
In line with the economic diversification policy of the federal government on Sustainable Economic Growth Plan, as well as part of events to mark Nigeria at 60-12 calendar month celebration, many citizens in the agro-allied industry across the 774 local government areas of the country converged on Abuja to showcase fabrics, footwears, herbal remedies, fabricated machines, food items, and other agricultural produce from their localities. The essence, the organizers say, is to promote indigenous technology, local content addition, and patronage of made-in-Nigeria products.
It is an avenue to tell the whole world that we have products and we have services that we can exchange for money. We can grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
Jambu, the inventor of the ultra-modern multi-purpose block molding machine and the plastic waste recycling machine, amongst other exhibitors, believe that from waste to wealth is the way to go, but not without challenges.
We need some machines that helps to do some finished touch packaging. But if there is funds, we can be able to get the right material to use.
To have a large quantity of this, we need assistance from government, as in to have a bigger land where we plant the trees. Yeah.
The peculiar problem is storage and processing. That is where we want the government to help the farmers.
In our company, we have more than 20 workers that we pay salary every month.
The forum also provided opportunity for Nigerians to raise questions and put in perspective the third-tier government as the stimulant for cohesion, unity, and economic growth of the nation.
Local governments must be seen going forward to be alive to their constitutional responsibility by developing the agriculture and the natural resources of their various localities as means of revenue generation rather than the hitherto practice or dependence on allocations from the center.
They also urged the federal and state governments to ensure that the autonomy of the local government across the nation is operational to ensure that technological potentials of Jambul and the likes are harnessed for national development. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Seaports are critical infrastructure that boost the economic life of any country in terms of commerce. Now, there is a seaport in Warri, Delta State. So, is it happy sailing? Well, the situation at the Warri seaport is said to be dicey, and Thelma Eliogu visited the seaport and brings back the situation report.
Excellence is said to be a moving target. That is why the federal government works assiduously to improve the living standard of its citizens through job creation and economic growth. One of the smart, actionable steps to ensuring this is the creation and sustenance of ports in deep sea zones of the country. However, while few of these ports are viable, others are grappling with challenges, like the Warri port.
For more than a month to 2 months now, there were no activities.
Before they will even sign will be for you, say, they will tell you to go here, go here, go here. Those are the challenges we are facing here.
To reposition this port and others like it for greater efficiency, safety and accountability, stakeholders say government needs to churn out implementable strategies that will improve the economic well-being of the nation and its citizens.
This port, is capable, of galvanizing the people at the grassroots. It's capable of stimulating economic activities, at the grassroots level. It should please open the port for operation.
They seek urgent attention to the reported collapse of the 2 breakwaters in Escravos, which is said to cause shallowness of the channels, providing nautical access to vessels to Warri, Koko, and Sapele ports. In Warri, Thelma Eliog, NTA News.
Jega is a town in Kebbi State, popularized more by a one-time head of Nigeria's election umpire, Professor Tahiru Jega. Apart from the business and commerce with which Jega town is also noted, one other fact that might be oblivious to you as a viewer is that it is home to an array of young female butchers, a phenomenon not common to most Hausa cities. Nasir Shu'aibu takes it up from here.
The dexterity being exhibited by these young female butchers of Jega speak volumes on how much they love what they inherited from their grandparents. Not minding their sex or age, the female butchers of Jega are simply out to demystify the misconception that females have boundaries in any task that could fetch a person a legitimate earning. How do they come into this trade is the question put to some of them.
Business, in my opinion, is only next to education in order of importance. It might also interest you to know that I inherited the trade from my parents and I am very proud of it.
What is the source of the capital involved in doing this business? Is another question put to them.
We largely collect the meat we trade in from butchers with large fortune. We sell it to members of the public, take our profits, and make use of that to support our parents and meet up with our needs as women. In my own case, I source the meat from my relations.
Looking at the nitty-gritty of trading in meat, otherwise known as butchering of animals, any regret in becoming a butcher is the question put to some of them.
First-time visitors to Jega are usually amazed to see us engaged in this trade. We once had a visitor who, out of curiosity, came all the way from Kano to see for himself the level of women involvement in this trade. The rest is history.
How do some of their parents feel that their daughters have taken up to the trading in meat?
At their parents, we are very much excited to see them following our footsteps. The daily fortune they are individually making is the biggest attraction. Let me tell you that out of the 30 children I have, 9 of them are ladies, and they are happily indulged in this trade. And I am happy too to see them doing that.
No pain, no gain is a universally accepted fact in everything we do as humans. What then is the attraction in this trade is another question the female butchers are eager to answer.
To say the least, I pay for my school fees and that of my younger ones, courtesy of the trade. It might interest you to hear that I make an average 5,000 naira daily, and I make use of that to attend to my basic needs.
To other ladies out there, the female butchers of Jega have this simple message to them. Get involved in any legitimate business that will give you financial independence. From Jega, Kebbi State, Ibrahim Ahmedu, NTA News.
True talk in our local parlance. I would say what a man can do, a woman can do even better. We've seen that. In the next part of the news, the tale of courage and resilience, and Kaduna teachers and students return to class. Plus, 368 girls smile home with laptops and other startup tools. Please stay. Welcome back to News Extra. Reporters must, to a greater extent, make their reportage take a storytelling form, just as presenters need to observe pauses where necessary to make their outings interesting and participatory. These are some of the keynotes at the ongoing 3-day training workshop organized for NTA News staff in Abuja. Adibola Brooksley Sunday has that.
It is the day 2 of the training workshop, which brought together reporters and on-air personalities from all NTA stations nationwide. The business began with a technical session where the resource person, Chukwudi Ubaja, and the trainees interacted, asked questions, and made contributions on communication skills, content development, and script writing.
You have to aim at some points, release energy at some other points, and just generally be flexible.
I engaged some of the participants to find out if the discussion is bringing out the best in them.
Training is very educative, it is informative, and is going to position me to bring out my best.
So much is needed on a daily basis. We are also expected to continuously update our knowledge.
We are sure that in no distance time we'll begin to see a tremendous impact on our bulletins.
Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, called the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board a dependable partner.
This speaks to the actualization of the mission statement of the board, which is to promote the development and utilization of in-country capacities for industrialization of Nigeria through the effective implementation of the Nigerian Content Act.
We did some bit of census and research when I came on board in terms of the most viewed television stations in the country between the private television station and NTA. And we discovered that NTA has the largest viewership in the country.
In line with the mandate of the board, the Executive Secretary, Simbi Wabote, outlined some of the achievements of the board in recent times.
We have implemented a 10-year strategic roadmap, which has 5 pillars and 4 enablers. The implementation of the Act has resulted in 35% of in-country value retention
A training aimed at bringing journalists up to speed with current trend in broadcasting is expected to enhance news and programming of the NTA. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And over the past few days, schools in Kaduna State have been reopening classes after weeks of closure over security challenges. And we can tell you that students, pupils and teachers have returned with sparkling imaginations of further requests for education, thanks to renewed commitment by government and partners who say they will not be deterred, particularly with implementation of the Safe School Initiative and other containment measures to improve security in schools. Adam Sambo, I beg your pardon, Adam Sunday reports.
Child destitution is one of the practices that pose great threat to educational advancement in the North. And just when stakeholders intensify campaigns and adopt strategies towards winning the fight against such threat, then came bandits' attack on Kaduna schools, accounting for the closure of schools. Months have gone by and a time lost, but the schools are back again in session.
There are different types of where
now that we are back, at least, studies will go back to start learning things a lot, especially from our teachers.
It's good I'm back to school, that I can come back to school and learn instead of staying at home just whiling every time.
It's a welcome development on the side of everybody.
Authorities say there is no cause for alarm on the lost academic term, thanks to the E-initiative designed to bridge the gap.
We have downloaded a lot of lessons in our YouTube channels, in our websites, Kaduna State Ministry of Education website, for them to also go through.
Though there are fears in some quarters that at least 1 million children in Nigeria will be left behind as the new academic calendar begins because they are afraid to return to school due to insecurity. In Kaduna State, the situation is different. Mohammed Bidemi, a parent, is here to pick his daughter from school. Mohammed, like other parents, believes in the Safe Schools Initiative, one of the many measures adopted by the federal government with other stakeholders to develop and rebuild schools and provide improved security.
The measure put in place in this school, even before now, I like the policy.
The state government has formed security committees that are going to be reporting regularly, and the security tips are there.
And within the school, teachers and head teachers are being trained to make sure that they create that safe space for children to be able to feel safe at school, to be able to state their concerns, even if the threat is at home.
Security agencies say they are deploying personnel to schools considered vulnerable across the state.
Security agencies, not only civil defense, but I know in synergy with all security agencies, we are providing security to ensure that our schools are safe for students and pupils in the state.
Stakeholders like Muhammad say there is need to partner the government and support the expansion of Safe School Initiative towards protecting the right of children to education. Adamu Sunday, NTA News.
Up next, the sports.
Nigeria and 3 African countries are strategizing to harmonize the vast intellectual capacities of African youth towards making them more productive and further project the continent. This was the submission at the 40th anniversary of ANOCA in Abuja as Youth and Sports Development Minister Sunday Dare was joined by his Algerian, Egyptian and Ghanaian counterparts to unanimously agree on setting up a 12-member committee to actualize the goal.
For the first time, we're having ANOCA, we're having the Ministers of Youth and Sports, UCSA 2, on the same page, with the same desire and the political will to make a difference when it comes to sports development on the continent.
The event, tagged Abuja Initiative, is one of concerted efforts to drive development on the continent through the youth. Meanwhile, all is now set for National Sports Federation's elections at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium Thursday, with candidates vying for positions on the boards of 23 sports federations. The election, which holds every 4 years, is in line with the Olympic cycle and an evaluation of development programs by sports federations nationwide.
I'm expecting that for the very first time, those who are aspiring either to come into the offices new or those who are aspiring to come back should come with sincerity of purpose.
About 500 golfers are set to tee off the 2021 Nigeria Independence Day celebration tournament at the IBB International Golf and Country Club Abuja on Thursday. The 4-day Pro-Am tournament has attracted golfers from different golf clubs nationwide, with amateurs set to compete for honors in men's, ladies and veterans categories.
This tournament we organize involves all members of the club. We also have guest golfers that come to participate.
The championship is an annual feature on the calendar of the IBB International Golf and Country Club Abuja. With sports updates, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
Anambra State government has placed 20 million naira bounty on anyone with useful information on the killers of Dr. Chike Akunyili, husband to a former Director General of NAFDAC, the late Professor Dora Akunyili, who was shot dead by gunmen at Nkwo in Idemili North local government area of Anambra State. He was returning from a function in Onitsha Tuesday evening. Ngozi Okafo reports.
The State Commissioner said that prior to the news of the death of Dr. Chike Akunyili, he was with him at a function in Onitsha, where the late Akunyili received a posthumous award for his wife on behalf of the family. The information boss, however, noted that the press will be informed on the state government's next line of action after due consultations with the police. Addressing the press after a closed-door meeting at the residence of a traditional ruler, a native of Agolo and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, said he drove straight to the mortuary where the body of a late Akunyili was deposited after seeing the news online.
The police from Ogidi Division had deposited his body, that of his driver, and the policeman attached to him. Was able to enter the mortuary, see them. With his son, identified his body and everything.
Not quite wrong now that Dola is dead. And now the husband joining him at this particular time. It's too early for these children to go without mother and father. It's painful.
It's a big loss to Ndago and Anambra in general.
Meanwhile, the family compound of the Akonyilis in Agolo was almost empty except for the presence of few domestic staff at work. Efforts to get reactions from the State Police Command was unsuccessful. It is therefore hoped that all hands must be on deck to tackle the rising spate of insecurity in Anambra State. From Agolo, Ngozi Okafo, NTA News.
The Department of State Services refutes the allegation that its operatives killed Dr. Chike Akunyili, husband of a late Professor Dora Akunyili. A statement by the spokesperson of the DSS, Dr. Peter Funaya, says the allegations are false and baseless. The DSS urges the public to disregard the fake news while assuring that the service and sister agencies will not relent in tracking down those behind the breakdown of law and order in parts of the country with a view to bringing them to justice. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is deeply saddened by the gruesome killing of Dr. Chike Akunyili, the husband of the late Professor Dora Akunyili, former Minister of Information. A statement by a special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, recounts President Buhari's fond memories of working with the late former Director General of National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Dora Akunyili, and the Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, and joining security agencies and leaders of thought to work harder to bring an end to the violence being unleashed on innocent Nigerians. The President assures the grieving families who lost their loved ones in the incident that the perpetrators of the heinous act will face both the judgment of man and that of God. In another statement, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Muhammadu Buhari commiserates with the Katsina Emirate Council on the passing of Sarikin Sharfai Katsina. The President describes the deceased as a pillar of support to the present administration, offering timely advice and support in several charitable organizations in his community. The President prays Allah to reward his good deeds with paradise and comfort his beloved family. And with that, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. But before I go, remember to be a star, connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Moruba. Enjoy the rest of your night.